So the main point of chapter 81 is that we as the defense force are at a disadvantage. Where have I heard this before?
Nine didn't have these daikaiju pulling up on these specific captains or these specific people for no reason. My best guess is that all of these daikaiju are gonna put all of our vice captains and captains at a disadvantage in their upcoming fights. So to see what those disadvantages are gonna be is gonna be scary for us as readers, but it's about to be the most hype times that we've had in this manga.
Now, since 2023 has started, I have also noticed a major tone shift within the Kaiju number 8 series. It felt like last year had a lot of ups for the humans, with us gaining power, us gaining techniques, and just really coming and seeing some of the old comrades that we hadn't seen in a while. But since 2023 and chapters 77 through 81 so far have been here, it almost feels like Matsumoto is giving us a glimpse into what the Kaiju era could possibly be like. And that's a scary sight to see, dog. And chapter 81 embodied that more than ever to me. In 81, we kick right back up and seeing that Kikoru is still going underneath that mental attack, with Kaiju number 15 telling her that she's never going to get the praise from her parents again because they're gone forever. From here, Matsumoto takes us away from Kikoru's mental trance and takes us to the HQ, where Kurusu is trying everything that he can to break Kikoru out of this mental trance. He's doing whatever he can to try to get some sort of communication going, but it is just not working. And it's at this moment that things are finally starting to settle in for even Kurusu. And he tells himself that this is what an identified number kaiju is capable of. The greatest talent in human history has awakened her powers. And it still is not enough to keep up with number 15. And this just shows you how grim this chapter is, and it only cascades the rest of this chapter into worse events just happening all throughout Japan, and where our captains, vice captains, platoon leaders are fighting these identified kaiju. And then one thing that I love that Matsumoto does with Keiji Itami is that he really makes us understand how the mastermind general is thinking behind the scenes. Even if Itami isn't talking out loud, he's just showing us what Itami's thinking. And Itami in this moment is really telling himself, why did this kaiju number 15 precisely attack the weakest and most underdeveloped part of Kikoru, her mental? It's almost weird and too precise that this is what 15 knew to attack. So then Keiji Itami proceeds to ask everybody around the area, report the status of your battles. And from here is where we see that there is not a single person within our forces that has the upper hand in their battle whatsoever. Now, the first battle that it starts us off with is Narumi versus number 11. This is a battle that we should have no concerns over, right? Narumi has on the number 1 suit. Narumi can see your movements before you even know what you're gonna do because of the number 1 abilities. We see number 11 and Narumi exchanging blows rapidly, and then all of a sudden, number 11 uses water to grab Narumi's leg and slip him up. Right as soon as Narumi slips up, this is the split second that number 11 needed to inflate its arm with water, which was a dope panel, dog. So it looks like number 11 has the ability to not only control water, but it can control the size of its body parts by engorging them with water as well. Is what I'm thinking from what I read. I don't know if y'all inferred the same thing. Let me know down below. But it engorged its arm with water and punched Narumi through a building. This is the first time that we saw Narumi get hit like this, dog. Number 9 couldn't land a clean hit on Narumi, but number 11 just did that in the middle of their battle, and this battle is nowhere near over yet. Number 11 then speaks to Narumi and tells him, I know that you can read my movements based on the electrical impulses in my body, but you can't read water. And he just lifts up his finger and controls all these water balls by him, as well as like that water that was just surrounding his body. And bro, Matsumoto went off in this panel. Matsumoto went off. Come on now. But on a real note, from there, number 11 attacks Narumi and things immediately flash over to Hoshina, Okanogi, and number 12. Okanogi lets Keiji know that things are right up to the wire over here with Hoshina versus number 12 as well. And number 12 just comes over and lets off this booming slash at Hoshina, knocking him way back. And Hoshina just says, "This is really pissing me off. I never thought that of all people, I would be the one losing in a clash of blades." And then you just see number 12 down in this menacing stance with those double blade arms. So it's literally the perfect version of Hoshina in kaiju form. And I can only imagine that number 12's tail is also acting like a blade, just like sheesh, man, there's so many daikaiju. But just like number 10's suit, it can be used as a tail sword. But from there, Okanogi says that it's weird that there's another kaiju that specializes in extreme close quarters combat, just like Hoshina. Not only that, it excels at taking out a single target in a one-on-one direct confrontation. It's almost if number 12 was specifically designed to verse Vice Captain Hoshina. And Keiji Itami immediately cuts off Okanogi and says, "You're exactly right, Okanogi. Animals, insects, pathogenic bacteria, viruses, kaiju. Through intensive research, humanity has employed measures against entities that could pose a threat to our survival. But right now, for the first time in the history of humanity, we're the ones on the receiving end. These kaiju are all designed to exterminate the defense force." As Keiji's saying that, we get another iconic panel of kaiju number 9, dog. At this point, man, his panels are more intimidating than him. I ain't seen number 9 in a minute, but the panels that we see of him holding the chess pieces, kaiju number 9 having that strong watch and that strong hold over the city of Tokyo right there. Ooh, Matsumoto, bro, you went off this chapter with the panel work. I don't know what made you want to draw like this chapter, but hey, keep it up. I'm a fan. But the other thing that happened while Keiji was giving his speech is that we saw kaiju number 13 had completely demolished the Ren Shinonome platoon as well as the Tachibana platoon, and was literally holding Tachibana by his neck in a grim way to end the chapter, right? Nobody has the upper hand on our side right now. But the one thing that I really want to highlight with chapter 81 is its cohesiveness and just showing the genius of Matsumoto and the genius of kaiju number 9, because obviously Matsumoto wrote kaiju number 9, right? But no attacks that kaiju number 9 has done since the beginning of this story have been fruitless or for no point. They were all the research for this moment. Every single moment that kaiju number 9 was interacting with somebody in the defense force, kaiju number 9 was researching the defense force and humanity to prepare for this war. And it's exactly like Keiji is saying. Humanity is always used to doing these kind of things because we have to survive. Right now, kaiju number 9 is trying to make it so that the kaiju can survive. So whenever number 9 was versing Narumi, number 9 knew that its clone was going to get defeated, but that fight wasn't about winning or losing. It was about researching Narumi to get prepared to fight Narumi for a later occasion when we could have the upper hand, or I guess when the kaiju could have the upper hand in versing Narumi. Kaiju number 9 seeing Hoshina fight through number 10 and knowing that blade fighting technique. Number 9 said, "I'm gonna create a better version of you to fight you." It's just crazy, right? Everything that number 9 has done has been so calculated and so genius-like. So I can only imagine the preparations that number 9 has made for Kafka. Obviously, Kafka's done things to get ready to prepare for the battle, but so has number 9, and that research, obviously, as we see, is not for fault. We literally thought that Narumi couldn't get touched, but just through one fight and research, kaiju number 9 created a daikaiju, that is able to keep up with Narumi because he thought of one way that Narumi wouldn't be able to read movements. That's wild, dog. That is genius. That is genius story writing, and that is genius character mastermind. Now all that's left is, I need to see number 9 in action for itself, dog. I need to see Kafka in action. I need to see Reno in action. I need to see Mina in action. And I need some hope back in this series right now. Because right now we are pretty hopeless, dog. We also still haven't seen some of the other kaiju, like kaiju number 14, that Evangelion face-looking kaiju. We still haven't seen that huge glowing white kaiju. Where are these at? Obviously, I think that the Evangelion-looking kaiju is going to be the one that Mina's going to end up fighting, but I know that we want to save Kafka for kaiju number 9, but at this point, it just doesn't make sense that we would save Kafka for kaiju number 9. We need help all across the board, or we're just going to lose this fight, period. On top of that, there are some things I could see happening. Reno can freeze water. So what if Reno pulled up on Narumi and Reno and Narumi team up together to fight number 11? I could see that almost being some sort of like countermeasure to number 11. I could see Kafka pulling up with Kikoru and both of them team up to fight number 15. And Kafka can give praise and love back to Kikoru and say, depend on us. The same way that Kafka couldn't even turn into number 8 whenever 9 did the Ain't raid. So I do see situations that could happen, but I just don't know how at this point any of our people are taking out these daikaiju by themselves. This has been a humbling period seeing these daikaiju, and just like Kurusu said, this is what identified numbered kaiju are capable of, and it is terrifying. And since the beginning of the year, I already feel like 2023 is the kaiju era, basically, at this point. So we'll see what happens next chapter. I am sorry to end things grim, but I kind of think that's how Matsumoto wanted it. I don't think he wants us to have hope right now. I think that Matsumoto wants us to have... Somebody's got to come in and give us hope. Who's it going to be? I don't know, man. Let me know down in the comments below who you're thinking or what you're thinking, but it's dark times in the series, so I appreciate you if you watch this video. As always, arigato mas, and I catch y'all later. You know the vibes. Peace.